to this broadcast, Kingdom Investor Network. And today I just want to read to you one page from my book, Wealth and Riches Shall Be in Your House. I want to encourage you to get this book at kingdomlife.in. That's www.kingdomlife.in. And you can get this book. It's available online and you can download a copy today. I'm going to read to you one page from this book. I believe that it will really inspire you if you want to increase financially. Um, this book was entitled Wealth and Riches Shall Be in Your House, inspired by Psalms, chapter 112, verse 3. And I'm going to read to you one page from this book. Listen, it says, Power to Get Wealth. When you look up the word get, you will find that one of the definitions for get is to succeed in obtaining, achieving, or experience, or to experience. Therefore, it is safe to say that you and I must act in order to get wealth. This definition all but eliminates the belief that God gives us wealth. No, He gives us the power to get wealth. Deuteronomy 8 and 18 says, But remember the Lord thy God, for it is He who gives you the power to produce or get wealth, and so confirms his covenant, which he swore to your ancestors as it is this day. Notice God does not give us wealth, he gives us the power or ability to create or produce wealth by acting on his word. Notice something. God doesn't give us wealth, he gives us the power to get wealth, which means that we have a part to play. We have to take action. God will help us as we ask him for help. He will lead us. He'll bring people into our circle. Um, he'll do his part, but we also have to do our part. Remember, faith without action is dead. And what is wealth? Wealth is long term material security, long term financial security. And so that's what wealth is. Wealth isn't this number. No, wealth is relative to your situation. If you're able to leave someone a home, you are able to leave them wealth. If you're able to leave someone a life insurance policy, you are able to leave them wealth. Wealth is something that you can pass on to the next generation. And so it's long term security. All right. So what does that look like for you? That's what you got to figure out. And that's what you have to get the wisdom to obtain wealth for you and your family. All right. And so I just want to enlighten you and just give you some encouragement. Thanks for the compliment. Thanks, Speed. All right. I see you in the comments. All right. Remember to leave your comments. Remember to like this video and remember to share this video. But yeah, I just want to encourage you because I knew what God did in my life. I was a ninth grade dropout. A ninth grade dropout. I had no plans for my life. Um, One of my counselors told me I was going to be dead or in jail, and both. I almost ended up dead. Should have been dead and gone, but it was the grace of God. God saved me. He saved my life multiple times. So God will, He'll deliver you out of your troubles and He'll put you on the right path. And I'll never forget, every significant step in my life, I got to give God the credit. When I couldn't stop smoking marijuana, God set me free from smoking marijuana. When I wanted to make more money, I would ask God, and He would open doors of promotion and increase in my life. And even things that I did not know I needed, God would tell me what to do. For example, I had a dream one time, and the Lord told me to fix my credit. I share this testimony over and over again because when I fixed my credit as a Christian, it opened up doors for me that I did not know existed. See, I was just solely dependent on God. But God was letting me know, no, my son, you can use the tools that are in the earth to experience a better life in your relationship with me. See, if it wasn't for God giving me that dream to fix my credit, I never would have fixed it because, you know, I wasn't educated. I didn't have financial literacy. I didn't know people with good credit pay less for the same car because they have good credit. I didn't know that. It never dawned on me. It never mattered to me. I didn't know people with good credit can borrow money at 0% interest. I didn't know that. But once I got hold to that knowledge, I began to be able to get 0% credit cards, $12,000, 0% interest, $11,000, and $9,000, 0% interest, just over and over and over again. And it opened up a new world to me. And I was a Christian. See, sometimes Christians think that if it doesn't come supernaturally, if it doesn't come in a miraculous way, that is not God. That's not true. God works all kinds of ways. You know, God, you can't put him in a box and just expect him to do in your life the way he did things in somebody else's life. Jesus would solve the same problem different ways for different people. All right? And so God is God, but he expects us to also take human action. Faith without works is dead. So if you want to better your financial situation, here's the first thing I would do. I would research how to fix my credit. And then I would take those steps. I would get out of debt. I would live within my means and I would fix my credit. Get all the negatives off. I would get a secured credit card. If you have bad credit, get a secured credit card. I had to put $500 down on my first credit card. I don't have to put any money down now, but in order to get started, I did. Sometimes you have to crawl before you walk. All right. Despise not your small beginning, for your latter end shall greatly increase. So you have to be willing to take small steps first in order to build that good reputation with lenders. But once you build that good reputation, and remember, when I had the $500 credit, I knew if I was faithful over that, I could get 5,000 and 50,000 and so on and so forth. But that's what kept me focused. I used the credit card and I didn't let the credit card use me. All right. So that's what you can do. That's just one strategy that will help you come out of struggling or just week to week living by simply having good credit and having access to 0% interest credit cards where you can get 10 and $20,000 of credit. All right. So that's one strategy. Another strategy is this. You have to pray and you have to ask God for favor. And whatever it is that you want God to do in your life, you got to be honest with Him. If you're not satisfied with the amount of money you're making, be honest and say, Lord, I need to make more money. Bless me with a better paying job. And here's what I did. See, I tithe. I give God 10% of what I make. I tithe and I give him an offering. And when you do that, you come into covenant with God, where he says, okay, because you're using your resources to help me, I'm going to use my power to open doors and help you. See, it's a partnership, right? And so some people they think, well, you can't move God, you can't persuade God to do anything. That's not true. Yes, you can. He's our heavenly Father. The same way that a natural child can persuade their natural father When daddy says no, and you can change daddy's mind the same way we can persuade our heavenly father. He can be persuaded by our acts of faith. When God sees you trying and putting forth human effort, he'll help you. Let me give you a revelation of what help is. Help is when I put forth human effort and then someone else comes alongside me and put forth human effort. Help, help is when I'm doing something for myself and somebody else comes alongside me and they give me a hand. Help isn't someone doing it for you. See, God's not going to do it for you. He'll help you. So he has to see you putting forth human effort first. And that's what a lot of people miss. See, you want a new house, but you haven't been going house shopping. See, little simple things like that people miss. Me and my wife, we went house shopping almost for a whole year. We were just looking at houses. And one day, and look, while we were looking, we were also preparing ourselves. But we didn't know when the day would come. I was talking with lenders. We were preparing getting our credit right. Remember, I had learned about the credit years before. So now that we want to buy this home, I'm using my credit skills. We're looking for a house, and we didn't know the day that we would go out together. We saw this house we currently live in, and we both knew that's our house. And so that's God. That's God. That's how God will lead and guide you in life. He'll help you. And I want to share this little bit of this testimony because this is supernatural. When my wife and I saw this house and the blinds were open so we were able to look into the house, I told my wife, I said, I'm going to take you to a house not far from here. We've seen the house before. You don't like the house. I don't like the house, but I'm going to take you there one more time. Something in me was telling me to take my wife to that house, so I obeyed. And this is how God will speak to you. He'll prompt you. You'll feel a leading on the inside to go and do something. That's how God speaks. It's not always words, it's just this feeling or this knowing, this leading on the inside, right? And so I took my wife to the house. How about there was an agent there who was doing an open house? So she had clients in there. So we walk in the house, she showed my wife, the house. My wife like, no, we don't like this house, but we do see a house that we like. She said, I'm closing up in 5 minutes. I can show you the inside of that house. How about she came and brought us inside this house? The very house I'm sitting in right now. Let me show it to you. Because I want you to see the goodness of God. Remember, I'm a ninth grade dropout. I want you to remember that. I'm a ninth grade dropout. But see, I want you to see the goodness of God. All right? Now, so we come to this house, we see the inside of it, we love this house. She ended up being our agent on the deal, and we ended up buying this house. But see, God led us here. And what I'm telling you is that God is no respecter of person. What He does for one person, He'll do for another. And God had to do the work on me because I was small. I didn't think we could have a house this big. The house I initially wanted, it was like a 3 we only have a handful of members, but I love my members. I love the people of God. And I also, that's why I share on YouTube my testimony because I want to inspire somebody, let somebody know, listen, God is no respecter of person. It doesn't matter if you dropped out of the ninth grade. If you trust in the Lord and you're willing to be diligent and work smart and be willing to put forth human effort, hey, the sky's the limit. There's no good thing God will hold for those who walk upright before Him. So, listen, I'm out. This is my last video for today, and I just want you to be encouraged, be blessed. Remember, like, share this video. Remember to get my book. It's at www.kingdomlife.in. Get a copy, and it will bless you. You can always find me on YouTube. Till next